Okay, so now we are in your diagnostic growth report. And this is where it's really important that we have a full understanding of what these numbers mean. So, again, if necessary, please feel free to go ahead and pause or go back and listen again if you need to. Um, it's really important that these numbers make sense so that you can fully understand what's happening in the classroom. So, here we're looking at progress to annual typical growth. So, this does not mean, this is looking at the whole classroom. This does not mean that the students scored a 48% average on the assessment. This is actually a median. And remember, a median is that middle number of in a set of data. So let's talk about first how we arrive at this 48%. So let's pretend that I took the assessment and my typical growth goal was 30. Okay, they wanted me to score 30 points. And let's pretend I actually grew 15 points at that winter assessment. My progress to goal would be 50%. So I would have grown 50% of the way towards my goal. Okay, let's pretend my friend also had a goal of 30 points and they grew 20 points. So my friend's progress to goal would be 67%. They grew 67% of the way towards their goal. Okay, so now let's return back to this graph right here. What this graph is saying is that if I took each of the students in this class, and I lined them up from least to greatest by that growth percentage. So again, I was 50, my friend was 67. If every student got a score like that and we lined them up from least to greatest, the student in the dead center, the median student, scored 48%. So that 48% is representing the student in the center of my class. That means half of the class grew more than 48% of the way towards their goal. Half of the class grew less than 48% of the way towards their goal. Now, the reason it's important to look at a median here is because the students that grew more than 48% could have grown 49% or could have grown 250%. But half of them, we know, are more than 48% of the way there. We can look at the same with the students that grew less than 48%. They might have grown 47%. They might have grown 0% or actually decreased. But we know that half of the students in this class grew less than 48% of the way towards their goal. Let's look at that a little more clearly. Again, remember, we're looking for that 48% median. If I scroll down here, here he is. This is the student that is dead center in the class when we look at growth from least to greatest. So we can see all of these students grew more than 48%, while all of these students grew less than 48%. If we did this with an average, these students down here at the very bottom and these students up here at the very top would be outliers that really messed with our data a little bit. They would skew what we were looking at. So instead, we're looking at that median and knowing that half of our students grew more than 48% and half of them grew less than 48%.